the best way to describe my life at that time was like a walking train wreck. I was ruining everything, my relationships, my finances, my health, everything. Spiritual, it was nothing of that. Nothing, absolutely. I was brought up in a Catholic home, and we were taught, like many Catholics, just go to church on Sunday if you can, but make sure you go to Easter, wear a nice suit, and and that was it. That was it. So there I was looking.
It is great to meet you. I'm very excited to hear your story. I know that you do deep work, which I love. So I love talking about deep topics. We can go as far down the rabbit hole as you like. Um, you've just come out of a retreat. I was asking you about that. So how was your retreat?
The retreat was amazing. Man, if I can tell you, it was, when you get to sit down and meditate, no matter what you believe in, you just want to be still and try to quiet the mind. And what happens is it starts getting really noisy, like really fast. And then it starts getting like aggressively noisy. Like the more still and quiet you're sitting, like it's like, hey, take it easy here, And there was a bit of prayers that go along with it and chanting, for lack of a better word, just repeating things, even if it's simple as, remove all obstacles, that are preventing me from being still, something like that. And I do have to say that at some point, I had, in my guesstimation, I had a breakthrough, you know and it was as simple as just everything went totally quiet, and I realized where I was sitting there in that position, and it didn't last for an hour or so. It may have lasted, I don't know, maybe 3 4 5 minutes or so, but I said, wow, this is how it feels to just have no mind, nothing at all. And for me, it was like the first time that that had happened. So yeah, yeah, it's
Awesome.
amazing.
Well, it's those moments we all long for, I think. If It's just getting that higher perspective because life takes you away and then you get carried off by all the drama and stuff around you and you forget that there's so much else in life that is
Mhm.
actually more important. Yeah. So you do leadership. You also run obstacle courses and you do cold plunges. So I'm going to draw your brain on that. So before we
Okay.
get into all of that, what got you started in all of this? What is your spiritual journey?
Okay. All right. Here it goes. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. This is a Brooklyn accent, by the way. And I come from a pretty rough neighborhood. We came from the projects, which is like public housing. And then at a very young age, my father got us out of there. But I was always drawn back to that excitement, the rush, and the busyness of it all. And coming up, it was really tough and rough. I went to a public school, and there was lots of fights, and there was different levels of violence, and um, there was substance abuse, within my family as well, and it affected me in a deep level. And as much as I didn't like that and hated it, and I saw that, I was drawn to it and ended up doing that. So my father did leave when I was 9 years old, but he probably checked out emotionally like years before that. And then the streets were there with open arms. They were ready to embrace me, telling me that they were my family and they loved me and they were loyal to me. And that none of that was true. But then I ended up becoming chemically dependent and drinking lots of alcohol too, because in my the way I look at things with alcohol, it really seems like it's the gateway drug to me. Not the other ones that are telling you, it's that one. In any case, I was looking at some point. I wanted to get off of the ride. I didn't know who was driving the ride. I didn't know where I paid my ticket. I just knew like I wanted to get off. Who's riding this? And I began looking. I looked everywhere, read tons of books. I went to ashram and silent retreats, and I also went to meetings and different belief systems too. And I was trying my best to be loyal to all of those things, because I really wanted out, but I just found myself back into the mess again somehow. Uh, and then I met a woman, fell in love. And, I was just in between all kinds of relationships, right? Because the best way to describe my life at that time was like a walking train wreck. I was ruining everything, my relationships, my finances, my health, everything. Spiritual, it was nothing of that. Nothing, absolutely. I was brought up in a Catholic home, and we were taught, like many Catholics, just go to church on Sunday if you can, but make sure you go to Easter, wear a nice suit, and and that was it. That was it. So there I was looking, and on the internet, I happened to find something called ayahuasca, and then I studied it for a year. And the more I studied it, the more I see that there was something deeper here. And I don't know if that was the thing that was going to get me off of the ride, but I was willing to try because I was trying many things. So I said, you know what? Just try another thing. Let's go. And after the year, we started looking for someone who had taken this ancient medicine from the Amazon, and we couldn't find anybody, even people who we thought we were spiritual. We just couldn't find anyone. No one knew it. And if they knew about it, they were vague. They hadn't taken it or anything like that. So while we were on holiday or vacation, we were in Egypt, ancient Kemet. And during the 30 days that we stood there, 15 of those days we stood with a tour group. And in that group, there was one gentleman that we had asked him, have you ever tried ayahuasca? And he was like, yeah, sure. And it was like finding the needle in the haystack. We were like, oh my God, like we found somebody. And then he told me that he had did it like 17 times. And then that kind of like puzzled me even more. I was like, why would you do it? But I didn't know anything about it. He suggested a few places in the Amazon, in Peru, right? In a place called Pucallpa, and you go into Lima, into the city, the capital of Peru, and then you take another short flight over there, and then it's kind of like on a buggy, a motorcycle with two seats in the back. And what I learned is that there's no roads that go to Pucallpa. No, you have to fly in there too. So we stood at this wellness center for 7 days, and we experienced the medicine 3 times within the 7 days. The first time was just horrible. I didn't like it. I was looking where the switch was to turn it off. Like I didn't like it at all. But then the second time was more beautiful than I can tell you. So according to what I learned, the first one is kind of like rebooting your operating system, strips you from all of the things that you're trying to hold on to, or the ego, and or the self-centeredness, or the greed, or the envy and jealousy, and those type of things. But then the second one is more like a relationship with the medicine or that experience, however you want to say it. Uh, and in addition to that, there was a bonus, right? Me and my wife, we had been together for 15 years. And after 15 years, we said, hey, let's have a kid. And then we started trying aggressively, but she had never been pregnant. So we ended up in the fertility clinic, and they had us jumping through all kinds of fire rings, like with the menu. Oh, you're doing good? Pay this. Oh, it's not working? Pay this. Like just seemed like money. And the people in Pucallpa in the Amazon said, look, we're not promising nothing, but things happen. So after our journey there in Peru, she came back, and her cycle, she spotted lightly the first when she came back, and then the second one, she missed it altogether. And she went to, we did the EPT test, and it was like praying for a Ferrari to show up in your garage, and then the Ferrari shows up. You open the garage door one day and the car is there. So we that was the bonus too. And
Lovely.
then soon after that, you know, we felt that we were getting these messages, right? I like to compare it to like a phone call. The phone was ringing, and humans have free will. We don't have to pick up the phone, but we decided to pick up the phone and we listened to the message. And again, we have free will. We don't have to do what the message was saying, but we decided, okay, we're going to do that message. And the message told us to serve other humans in many capacities. So we just started working on ourselves, letting go of all of those things, the infidelity and the alcohol, and like it was just everything was just falling away, like stripping me of my whole character. Like some remnants kind of stays behind always somehow, but I'm totally a different person, than I was before. And it's not like I don't like to put it like fanciful, like this miracle thing, a lot of us thought it was the silver bullet, kills the werewolf and then it's over. It's not like that. We're made up of many layers like an onion, so it was just that peeling away of all the baggage, the things, being brought up and the abuse and those type of things. And once I got clear from those things, then we started having meetings, people coming over, young men, and I was schooling them on some of the dangers that the street has, and how to let go of these emotional baggages and traumas that are put on us, you know. Um, and then, we had our first child. Her name is Aya. We named her in honor of the medicine of ayahuasca. And that was like 9 years ago. It's going on 10. So, it's one of those things like it helped me. It was a tool. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't a religion or not. When I got there, they never told me, okay, this is the God right here that you're going to worship, bow down and devote. Yes, nothing like that. It was all about me. This is about you. Like you're going to help yourself like that. We're going to help you with the process, but it's about you. And I like
Yeah.
that, and it was not addictive either. It was anti-addiction. It stripped me, it helped me to stop drinking alcohol, so yeah.
Amazing.
So here we are.
Yeah. So about you said earlier the streets were beckoning you. And I mean, that was my experience. If there's nobody at home for you, you'll go and find other kind of lost children or lost people, feeling like you're all going to join together and then create that sense of community. The problem is you've got a whole lot of broken people that are not really going to be there because they're all traumatized badly. Do
Mhm.
you think there was a correlation between your father leaving and a lot of the other kids on the street not having dads?
Most definitely, most definitely. Most didn't have any father, and then the ones that did, their fathers were abusive, or they were just absent. Working all the time, come home, drink, watch sports, watch the telly, things of that nature. So they really didn't have any of those figures like that. The ones who did have some of those figures, they weren't on the street,
Yeah.
they were involved in other things. So we definitely had all of that in common for sure. It was an unspoken, you know, contract that we all had.
Yeah. Because the fact that you're drawn to doing men's work means there's leadership lacking, I think, specifically with men. There are male role models, but they may not necessarily be the kind of man you want to become.
Mhm.
And
Most
so I
definitely.
think men need guidance.
For sure, for sure. There's like a bunch of kids running around out here, not men. I wasn't taught how to be a man. The
Yeah.
most that I got was go get a girlfriend, go get a lot of girlfriends and drink alcohol. You're a man. Oh yeah, and by the way, you're gonna be paying bills soon. And that
Yeah.
was the extent of it. There was no leadership. I didn't, and if there was, at the point where I was too far in, I didn't hear any of those voices. So it was just a
Yeah.
lack, an empty void.
What is a man? How does a man behave?
In my opinion, I believe a man is someone who has high morals and a deep integrity, right? Because I learned that integrity is something that you do when no one is looking, you see.
Yeah.
So that's what part of being a man is, and then there's also the self-realization. Do you know who you are as a person? And this is not an easy thing. It took me a long time to figure this one out with the help and guidance of others who were on the same path of realization and explain to me. It's like this: you need to know who you are as a person. You're not Omar. You're not that. Omar is just the designation. It's a label that they put on to me, right? It has meaning to me and all that, but I'm not my name. Who are you? Oh, I'm Omar. No, I'm a person. I'm a man. I know who I am. I'm confident in me, in my body, and my feelings and my mind, and I'm aware that those things that are going on in my mind are not me. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not even the body, too, right? So it goes much deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have been doing obstacle races as well. Tell me how you got into that. That's
Definitely. So after I got clear from all the garbage, right, I got to realize that this body that I have, in fact, this part of the head, what do they call it? They call it the temple because that's what it is. We're in a temple, right? And we're the God of our own temple, right? That's what we like to say. Once I got clear from all of the garbage, I started thinking like, hey, this is my body. I have to treat it good now. This is the one that they gave me. This is the vehicle that I'm driving, because I'm in here somewhere, but how do I get around? I get around in this thing. So I just started pushing my body. I said, wow, it'd be great. How far can I push it? And then the more I pushed it, I was like, man, maybe I could do more. I feel that I can, or let me try, at least. So I started looking for difficult things to do, challenges. And then I found a franchise that I liked because they were close. They were having events close to where I live, which is the Spartan races. And they're basically obstacle courses. There's different lengths. So there's like a 3 to 5, and then there's the 8 or 9, and then there's like the 15, 16, 17. So there's those three tiers. And I started small, and then I got to see that I was really out of shape. And I thought I was going to the gym. I was like, I go to the gym, I'm good, but it wasn't like that. It was a totally different thing. They're in ski lodges, so you have to climb up these mountains and then back down, and then there's these obstacle, monkey bar type stuff, and it's quite aggressive, and you have to train. That's when I learned like, oh, I have to train my body, man. Really like dedicated to it. So, I love it.
so I think you'd have to be a Navy SEAL to be able to do things like that.
Sometimes, it goes along with the ice plunge that we do too, right? There's two components. There's the breath work, which prepares the body, it oxygenizes the cells in your body, and then it prepares you. It's kind of like the car, the old ones. Remember, you had to heat it up for a little while, boom, 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 it kind of like that. And then I coach people through a big tub of a lot of water with a lot of ice. It's freezing cold. The temperatures are pretty low, 30 degrees. It could be 20. It could be, so it's all in the mind. That's what I started realizing too. It's not my body because my body will follow my mind, but I have to get the mind right. So I just started studying the mind, learning how does the mind work? What's going on here? Like there's something more. It's not just my feelings. Something triggered the feeling. I thought about something and then I got upset. I thought about something and then I was hungry, or I desired something, or I was happy, or. So I said, wait a minute, if I could fix this. So I've come to some realizations, and that's what we do here at OMZL. We try to push men, to the edge and then beyond too. Let them know, like, there's a little more. You could do more. You could push. Let's go. Let's go running. We do men's retreats. We do hiking. We go to a waterfall. It's usually in the winter too, so the water is freezing. We go running, we do yoga, we do all sorts of things, to get the mind right.
So, what would you say to people that are like, I'm going to hurt myself, or I've got an old injury, I'm too old for this, I'm too overweight, whatever the excuse is? What do you say to those people?
That's what I would say, that most of it's an excuse. Because I had one gentleman tell me one time, man, I don't work out because I hurt my knee a couple of years ago. And I'm like, well, then do bench presses or do curls. Like, what kind of excuse is that? Like, don't do squats. Your knee hurts. All right. You could do something else. So, um, but you should listen to your body. You don't want to get hurt, but start small. That's what I would say. Go
Yeah,
for a walk. When I started running, you know, I was doing like a mile and it was quite a bit for me. And then I stepped up to 2 miles and I did 2 miles for a long time, a long time. But then I said, I have to go further. And then I just started going further, further. Then I would go for long runs. I would do like 13, 15-mile runs, and then my daily practice is I'm up at 4, I get ready and I go run and I run for about 6 or 7 miles. And I can keep that up for 7 days. So after a while, I feel it. After a while, like my body's like, "Hey, wait a second," But okay, I rest one day, I rest 2 days. That's okay. But just start small.
yeah, yeah. So, you believe in self healing, and I do too. But how does a person self heal?
Mm. Well, it all comes back to the mind. The mind is a powerful, powerful, powerful tool. And the more that I started studying the mind and studying the masters who had looked into and delved deeply into the workings of the mind, I started to learn that if you can master your mind, then you could do anything basically that you wanted, anything. I mean, our potential is probably limitless. There may be a limit on the body, but not on the mind. Our consciousness is the one that pushes us forward or holds us back too. So let's get to know it. Let's see, right? I remember Michael Singer in he makes a wonderful book, The Untethered Soul, and he talks about, the roommate that's in our head, you know, it's always talking to us. And if we had a roommate living with us talking all the time, we would get rid of them right away. But yet we don't do anything about that roommate in our mind, where we should, you know, get to know the mind and work with it and start doing difficult things. I don't want to get into the cold water. I do it all often, but I don't always want to do it. I don't. It's too cold. It's painful and stuff. But I do it. Just try a little bit. So yeah,
So you do feel the cold. It's not like you breathe it, you do the breathing and you don't feel it.
right. You definitely do the breathing, which helps to prepare you for the cold, but you definitely feel it. It's painful. But we also notice that if you can be in the water for 30 seconds, you'll make the 2 minutes. It's just the initial part that's really painful. And then there's lots of healing that goes on there also. It's great for your mental capacity, for depression, for PTSD, for a heartbreak, for all sorts of, mental and spiritual aspects too. Because what it does is that it pushes you into the present moment. We spend too much time thinking about, oh man, what that guy told me, I can't believe it. Or, oh, next week when I see him, what about here? Let's stay here. So that's what the ice water does. No one can think about anything else while they're in. I've never met anybody who said, oh, while I was in the water, I was thinking about when I get home, I have to wash my clothes.
I would liken that to shock therapy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's a shock to your system, your autonomic nervous system.
Would that give
So
a person confidence?
definitely. So we like to tell people you want to write a book or you want to start a business or you want to break up with someone or you want to start a relationship with someone or something to that effect. These events, they seep into those different parts of your life where you go, hey, I think I will start writing or, I am going to go do that. I'm going to vacation over there or I am going to call this person up. I am going to write that letter, tell them hey, thank you so much, or something to that effect, you know?
Yeah. I suppose it would be like walking on fire or jumping out of an airplane or anything like
Exactly.
that. Except
Right.
I think this one sounds the most painful.
It's usually it's usually just your mind. Again, it always comes back to that. This the frontal lobe right here inside of your brain, it's a new part of the brain in the history of humans. It's like a small walnut size that's sitting right there. There's older parts of our brain which are deeper, right? Some people call it like the reptilian brain. But this frontal part right here is the one that helps us not swim in the water with sharks, you know, or not to jump off of a building. You see, this is the one. But then it's on overdrive. Then it stops us from writing a book or starting a podcast or or talking with someone or going to that meeting or vacate. Like it's so we have to
Yeah.
quiet the mind. We have to quiet that, you know.
Yeah. What would you recommend to people to get started?
What I would recommend is really you have to try to get away from some things that this life is offering us. You know, alcohol is usually a big one. And I'm not saying it like a religious, like, if you drink and you feel that it's casual and you seem to handle it somehow, I'm not talking against anybody, but getting rid of these devices, you know, start with that. You know, get rid of the cigarettes. This is another one too. It's just it
Yeah.
serves us no good. It just serves us no good. I used to smoke, I used to drink, but it just doesn't serve me well any longer. So I have to try to find a way to get rid of those things. You know. The other thing that we also push here at OMZL is the books. Books are wonderful. Books are like a window where you open it up and you get to look outside and you see things from far and like, wow, that's beautiful. Man, I could go there too. I could do that also, you know. So we often give lots of audiobooks and PDF books away. But the books are the ones that really, really raises your vibration and expand your consciousness. So the books would be definitely something that you want to get into. Learn how other people did it, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already made. In fact, they made a book on it, and it even shows you how to use the wheel too. You see? So just read some books, you
Yeah.
know. And then you want to start small, you know, go walking. Maybe you're like, I can't run. Walk then. We Everybody walks if you have 2 feet and you can stand erect. You know, walk around the block, walk up the block, walk back again, you know. But be consistent. You see, the consistency is the key. You know, motivation, eh, it comes and goes. You know, but discipline and that consistency, that's where you're going to gain, you know, lots of traction there. And then you want to stick around with people that are in the same mindset too. You know, look at there's an old saying, right? If you tell me your closest 5 friends, you know, I can tell you how much money you have in your bank account. You know, you know, so you want to, you know, be with people who are, you know, higher. If you play basketball, you don't want to play with fifth graders. You're going to beat them every time. You're not going to grow. You want to play with NBA stars like that. You know, you're
Yeah.
a tennis player. You want to play with Serena Williams like that. Somebody who's going to challenge you, who's going to pull your coat and tell you something like, hey, you know, you're not doing anything. You know, you were running, you know, what's going on? Like, is everything all right? You know, something like that, you know.
Yeah. Nice. What about if somebody has motivation? It's January 1st and it's a New Year's resolution and they're going to go, go, go. And then, of course, you wake up the next morning and you don't feel like it.
Right.
And then there's that old pattern. How do people override that pattern?
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said?
How do they override it, that pattern? Because it's so, I think emotion and thought are so closely linked because it starts off with, I don't feel like it. And then, oh, I really shouldn't. And then, oh, it feels so heavy. It's too much. I'm overwhelmed. And it's just like loop.
Hmm. You know, that does fascinate me about people, about myself too. You know, how we're so motivated to say things when we feel like it. I'm gonna go do this, you know, but once that feeling goes away, right? Or maybe it
Yeah.
doesn't go away, but it lessens, then you're just stuck with you in your mind. And then that feeling switches to the other one. Nah, don't do that. Why are you gonna go run for? Exercise? No, no, no. No. What if they don't like you? What if they don't like your art? What if they don't like your podcast? What if they don't like your voice? What if they don't like the way you look, your hair, or you start getting all this other one, and then it overrides that. So how do you override that one right there? What I would say is you have to try to quiet the mind. So meditation is an ancient practice. It's thousands of years old. I would say start with 1 minute. Put a little alarm on your phone, 1 minute that it'll beep. Put it down and just be silent and be very comfortable. Relax your body and start paying attention to your breath. And then once you do 1 minute, you might want to move up to 2 and 3 and 5, like that. You'd have to meditate for like 8 hours. This helps to override that voice. In addition, OMZL, what we do is we encourage people to put up a yearly calendar, a physical one, not the one on your app, because out of sight, out of mind, right? We get one of those desk calendars and then put it in your bedroom on the outside of the closet door, not the inside, because again, you don't see it. Put it on the outside and get yourself some different colored markers and then start tracking your progress. Why? Because then you get to see, hey, I meditated twice last week, and the week before that it was one. So I'm increasing, stuff like that. Or let's say you eat the whole tub of ice cream. You might want to write that down too. You see, because then when you look back, you'd be like, I'm not going to have ice cream this week. I just had a big tub like 2 days ago, and this is not serving me. I want to override that voice. I want to be able to push myself to the limit and beyond. So the tracking system is huge for us here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great advice.
hmm
So you're a magnetic leader. What is the definition of that? What is explain that to us?
Well, a magnetic leader is someone who attracts people to them without saying much. You see? So I started noticing that we have these offerings here at OMZL, but I don't want to sell these offerings. I don't like that. I feel like a used car salesman. And I've done lots of that in my old life. So once you start just having these offerings and saying, here it is, okay? People start to see that and they go, hey, let me listen to this person. Let me see the little bit that they're saying. And then they start to follow you, because you don't have to say a lot of things. Often it's best not to say too much. But as you can see, I enjoy talking, right? That's why we're doing the podcast. And we
Yeah.
have one also called The Art of Rising. So that's what we enjoy, to share information with others. That's true. But I'm like you. I like to talk about deeper conversations. What's meaningful? What has substance? I don't watch TV. I don't go to the movies. Why? I couldn't tell you. Like when people tell me, "Oh, did you see on Netflix?" No. I don't want to do that with my time. I just don't. I want to grow. I want to grow spiritually, mentally, physically too. I want all that. I want to be the best version of myself. So
Yeah.
how does that happen? It takes time.
And everybody needs to discover their own self, whatever that looks like.
hmm
And I think, especially now in this time, a lot of people are trying to honor their parents, for example, and do work that their parents say they're good at or their teachers said they should.
hmm
How would they know the difference between what they truly like versus what they think they truly like?
That's a great question. I believe that when you do something that the time just flows by, just gone. You don't even know what the time is. And you're in the flow state, right? The flow state, that's where you're at. That's where you want to be. What is it? Writing, painting. It could be helping people, building buildings, or carpentry. It could be any of those things. But if you're in a place doing something that you really don't want to do. You get up in the morning and you be like with that knot in your stomach saying, "Oh, I just don't want to be here. I want to get out of here." You should start working your way out of that. Start creating a plan because everything around us is by plans. You have to have a plan. If you don't have no plan, it's like being in a boat, without a rudder and a sail, thinking that you're going to get to Jamaica or Australia and you don't have a map. You need to have that plan, in order to get out of that. But what I
Yeah.
also would like to say that here at OMZL, we stand by five pillars of truth. And the first one is realizing that there is something greater outside of you, right? God, universe, put whatever name you want to put on it, it's fine. It's all the same to us. Once you realize that, you're able to humble yourself before that thing, whatever it is, right? The other one is you should know who you are. Self realization is very important. You see, you're a man, you're a woman, or whatever you are. That has nothing to do with sex, by the way. I had somebody ask me that. I was like, that has nothing to do with it. Realizing who you are as a human being here on this planet. That's the other one. The third one is your relations, right? What's going on outside of you? How are you conducting yourself at the job, with your parents, with your loved ones, with your children? See, get that right. Get that pillar right also. See, the fourth one is, you know, um, building a plan. That's another pillar right there. You have to write those things down, and it's it's often helpful to get a mentor, that can help you with some of these things. Here in the Western world, we don't like to bow down to nobody. We like to be prideful, especially the men. Like we have this ego thing, like, nah, he's not going to tell me what to do. Like we might want to rethink that one, right? Because take a place like India, for instance. They find a guru and they follow that guru. They do whatever the guru says. Like, you see, why? Because the guru has more experience. He might say jump off a building. You don't want to do that. You want to use your own. You don't want to fall totally in. Like, you have to keep some for yourself. But you might want to get someone there. And then the fifth pillar is putting all of those things together. You see, putting them together. That way you can have a whole solid foundation. That's what we do.
Yeah. Sounds amazing. So tell us a bit more about your it's called Obzio.
Omziel. Yes, it's the Omziel Healing Sanctuary. So my name is Omar, and my wife's name is Aziel. So we put the two
Aha.
words together. It's Om Ziel,
Obzio.
right? And then it comes with different connotations too. It has the Om and L. L means God,
Yeah.
and things like that. So we started right around the time when we started having this spiritual awakening of ourself and our existence in this place, and we came up with the name. We threw out a couple of names, and then we finally came to that one, the Omziel Healing Sanctuary. We have a website, and we're active on social media. We have a YouTube channel, and then there's different things that go on here. The breath work and the ice plunge seems to be like a staple for us. People know us for that. But we like to think of it almost like a ruse just to get people in, and then we get to teach them and tell them about other things that are deeper that are going on here. They thought that was the deepness right there, but that gets them to come in. And then we have all sorts of events. We have gatherings and we have different workshops and yoga and cacao ceremonies. And then we have the men's retreats too. It's called the Wind Horse Rising Men's Retreat. And I take men away. It's usually about 8 or 9 men, and we do short ones here in the States, like from Friday to Sunday or Thursday to Monday, something like that. uh, but I'm glad to announce that we had our first international men's retreat last year of 2024. So it was
Nice.
amazing. Yeah, we went to the Dominican Republic and I got this wonderful location overlooking the beach. Oh, it was beautiful, private, a pool. There was jacuzzi and a workout room. So we exercised. We went running and we went to the city of Santo Domingo. We ate good food and we smoked cigars. But there was deep work. I mean, lots of tears and lots of letting out and releasing lots of pain. And yeah, it's transforming for sure. You come back a different person. We break off from all communications, cell phone, laptops, none of that. We get rid of all of that. you know.
Sounds amazing.
So
So
that's what we
where is
do.
your next one? Where's your next one going to be?
Oh, that's a great, great question. We're so excited because, after the first one went down, plenty of men are like, hey, I want to go. Where's the next one? So, Dominican Republic is a wonderful place. My parents and my ancestors are from the island of Puerto Rico, so I speak Spanish. It helps me to get around there. My wife is from the Dominican Republic, the island of Dominican Republic. But there's so many places to go, and we're just looking to push the envelope farther. Can we go? Like, let's go to India, let's go to Bali, let's go to Australia, and I'm already looking for tickets and formulating things, making it affordable for people too. So let's see.
Well, the sky's the limit. The earth is the limit.
Right, 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 right. That's right. That's right.
How would people get hold of you?
We have a website. It's the
Yep.
Omziel Healing Sanctuary. Omziel is Omziel. Omziel Healing Sanctuary.com. That's our website. We have a email address, which is omzielhealing@gmail.com. We also have the YouTube channel, which is Omziel Sanctuary. We have the Instagram, which we're quite active there, and that's also Omziel Healing. And we're on LinkedIn and we're on Twitter and we're in a bunch of places. We're located in North Bergen, New Jersey. So we're like 20 minutes outside of Manhattan, either Midtown or Uptown Manhattan. And we're like close to the action, but not too close. And we also have a wonderful space here. And we have two locations of Airbnb right in this same very home, too. So we just started listing on Airbnb these short-term rentals, and they're quite successful. And it's in the same vein of service, you see, because we're still serving
Yeah.
people. Yeah, they
Yeah.
come here, and my wife is baking all kinds of good, cornbread and magical muffins, and and we get to serve people in any way. So it's wonderful. We've been quite blessed and successful in it.
Yeah. Sounds amazing. I'll post all your links below. And if anybody wants to contact you, I definitely think you must get that retreat date and place organized. I'm sure there will be people wanting to go.
Hmm.
There's not a lot that I know that I'm aware of that's out there.
Mm.
Um,
We're looking for August or September of 2025. I can tell you that. That's a good time for us. The August or September, right around there. And we went for 8 days. And we went scuba diving. Oh my God, I could tell you so much. It's just amazing. And we sat around too and laid around and meditate and sat by the
yeah.
beach and man, it was great. It was great.
Thank you, Omar. Do you have a message for our viewers before we go?
Yes. My message to anyone who's listening to me right now, push yourself and don't wait. We wait for the time is right or the right sneakers or the right gear or on Wednesday or maybe Sunday. Don't wait. Time is short. Life is short. Get it now and be your best. Your very, very best.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
beautiful. Very nice. I think one of the top regrets that people have when they die is that they didn't do what they wanted to do.
That's right.
They hold out, and it's
Yep.
just so sad. It's
It's very
tragic.
sad. Very sad. That's why I go for it. I go. You don't like me? You don't like me. You want to hear? You want
Yeah.
Do all right. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm going. Just try. Go. If I fail and fall, so what? I have fun, man. It's a great experience. No.
Yeah. And if they don't like you, they wouldn't like you anyway. So who cares?
Yeah, that's another thing too. Some people say, "Man, but what if people don't like me?" And I tell them, "People don't like you already." There's people out there who don't like you. So if you try to have everyone like you, oh, good luck with that. Good luck. There's
Yeah.
always going to be somebody who doesn't like you. Maybe they don't like you because you are good at what you do. You see?
Yep.
You're
Well,
saying
my
something
dad used
else.
to say, yeah, my dad used to say Jesus was crucified.
Okay. Okay. You see?
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I
you
had
could be the most amazing person.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I had another friend too, great friend. He would tell me, they lied on Jesus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're gonna lie on you too.
That's it. Yeah. So sad. But okay. Omar, thank you so much. It was great hearing your story and it was great meeting you.
Thank you. You too. Peace and love. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Peace.